So I'm a very independent person. I don't like relying on other people. I like knowing that I can do something and knowing that I will do whatever I can in order to accomplish that goal. Yes, sometimes I will be a little lazy and I'll take shortcuts. Who doesn't? But, you know, most of the time I'm just straight on going for what I want, and I won't really stop until I get it. Like, for example, living on my own. I live on my own now. And, when I made that decision finally, I made it around last year. I moved in November of last year. I moved in November of 2023. I moved out exactly on the 1st of November. 2024, I mean, like 2024. I moved out, and it was like a big decision for me. I was 21 at the time, and I had lived with my parents my whole life. I had relied on them mostly. I did have a job, but my mother never really made me pay for a lot of bills. Sometimes when she didn't need me to pay for something, she'll just be like, just give me this much. And, I would happily give it to her. But a lot of times, like, I would just rely on my parents like a lot of people do. And I decided to move out. And, I did whatever I could. I got this apartment. It's really small. It's not like a big apartment, but that's as much as I could afford, especially in the area that I live in. But, if I want something, I go for it and I won't stop until I find it. I took at least like 3 months to find an apartment that was close to my work, that was relatively cheap, and that was big enough so I could like fit all my stuff in. Like, this isn't a big apartment, but it's big enough where everything can fit and I don't have to worry about space. Like, it's not like that tiny. It's not like those insane New York City apartments where you're like stuffing a bunch of things inside, which, by the way, I'm not like judging about like living in tiny apartments. I just think I got really lucky to find this place, and I am very appreciative of it. But apart from being someone that's very dedicated to finding what she wants and not stopping until she finds it, I find it very annoying when I have to rely on other people in order for me to get what I want, or in order for me to find what I want. Not saying that I use other people in order to get what I want, but saying that sometimes you just need to realize that you need someone else in order to help you get to your goals. So when it comes to dating, yes, this is another dating video because I don't know, I like using these videos as like diaries because I hate writing. I love reading, but I hate writing, so might as well just make a video out of it, and this is what I get. So when it comes to dating, I find it so annoying where I'm looking for someone in particular. I know what I want. I know the person that I want to be with, and I know how I want him to act, how I want him to be. I'm not really that much of a someone that's into looks. Like, as long as you look okay, I'm fine. Like, I don't really go for looks. I go more for achievements, for ambition, for how intelligent you are. I find those traits more attractive in a person, even when I'm like even when I'm meeting like friends. When I find friends that are like equally as ambitious as me, equally as smart, or when I find like a person that's super smart, super intelligent, I'm like, I need this person to be my friend. Like, they sound so cool. I don't really have a lot of friends, so maybe that's why. But I like that, and I appreciate when someone's very nice. So I have spent a lot of time dating. I think in total now I have been on like 15 dates with like 10 different people. So maybe it's not that much for other people, but as someone that only started dating at 21, I feel like it's quite a lot for me. Plus I don't really like going on dates that often, so I normally just try to do it whenever I have free time. And some people I have went on more than one date with, but it just doesn't end up working out, and I don't really get like sad about it. I prefer to just realize that sooner than rather than later, and just be honest and be like, hey, this isn't really gonna work. And even though I haven't really found the person for me, I feel like the more I've been on dates, the more I have realized certain things about people, because I've never really been a people person. I've always preferred to be on my own. I think I've always just found a lot of just peace of mind when I'm by myself, and I don't really like going to like bars or stuff. I'm not judging people that go there, obviously, but do whatever you want. But in me in particular, I don't like going to bars. I mostly just like go to cafes and I try to read, I do work and stuff. But that for me is a lot more fun. I don't know, I've never really been that type of person, so I think I'm just very introverted. So when I go on dates or when I do all these things, I feel like I'm just really coming out of my box, especially because on dates, you know, you have to be kind of open on dates. I'm not saying that I tell them everything on the first date, but you know, like you have to talk about certain things. So a lot of times on dates, I'm just like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to start like, what am I going to say to this person? I get really panicked because I don't really like talking about myself. Like there are people that have known me for years, and I think they know so little of me that if you ask them to describe me, they would just describe like, oh, you know, like she likes black, she has black hair, she has earrings. Like they wouldn't really know what to say about me just because I'm a very quiet and reserved person, and that's always how I have been, and I like the way that I am. But I do realize that when I go on dates, I have to just talk a lot more and just reveal a lot more about myself than I am comfortable with. But normally I just try to go for like simple topics. But apart from that, I feel like going on dates is very tough nowadays. I don't know how it was in the past, obviously, but I feel like it's very tough in the sense where you know what you want, you know the type of person you want to be with, and even if you know exactly the type of person that you want, that doesn't guarantee you'll find them. Like it's trial and error, honestly. Like you have to go out on these dates, be talking to these people, be trying to get as much information from them as possible in order to realize, okay, this person just isn't for me. And I feel like it's best to realize that early on, because I know it sounds bad, but you're not wasting their time, you're not wasting your time, and you guys could just go your separate ways. Like normally when I go on one date with a person, I'm not gonna be upset that they don't want to see me again. Yes, maybe I like them, but you know, it's better to just stop seeing each other early on than just continuously going out and then realizing maybe like 3 months into dating that I don't like this person. It hurts. It hurts because maybe you've made this connection with them. So for me, just realizing that early on, it's fine. Like maybe we're just not compatible, and that's completely fine. And that's it. We can go our separate ways. But it does kind of hurt, not because you necessarily like that person, but because you get bummed out. You go on these dates, you realize what you want, and you realize that even though all the dates you go on, you just can't find the right person. Does that mean I'm giving up? No, because I feel like I am a hopeless romantic at heart, even though I wouldn't really describe myself as a hopeless romantic. I think I am in some ways because I know that there is someone that is just perfect for me out there. I know that one day I will find this man that we match so well. We speak so freely to each other. We are just best friends. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is that don't be afraid to go out there. Don't be afraid to get your heart broken, because at the end of the day, you're not going to really find out what you want, who you want, or you're not even going to find the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with if you're just scared of just putting yourself out there. If you're scared of just going out there and telling people straight up what you want, because that's the only way you're going to find what you want, honestly. Like, after so many dates, I can tell you that the most fun I've had in some dates and the best dates I've had was when I was just straight up with these guys. Like, I would literally tell them, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. Like, this is the type of person that I want. And a lot of times, like, when I have been on, like, a second date with these guys or like, on multiple dates, a lot of times they are just really nice. Like, the second date, they'll bring me, like, a whole bouquet of flowers. They'll be like, okay, let's go here. I realize that you like this. They'll bring me gifts. They'll be super charming. Like, these guys will go all out just to, like, woo me over. And even though they hadn't worked out, because even though, like, these relationships hadn't worked out, because, you know, like, things happen, or, like, maybe we just weren't compatible. A lot of things have happened. I'll get more into detail maybe in another video. But even though these relationships hadn't worked out, I realized that you're not going to get what you want if you're just sitting there on the date just like, oh yeah, yeah, like, no, dates are so you can get to know each other. So if you're not putting yourself out there completely how you want to be and completely how you are, you're never gonna get anywhere. You're never gonna get anything. So honestly, the worst dates I've had, this is my conclusion, the worst dates I've had or the dates where I just try to sit there, not really talk about my future and what I am looking for, those are the worst dates, because at the end of the day, the guy just did whatever the fuck he wanted. And I ended up just wanting to go home so badly, like I didn't want to be there anymore. But the dates where I was straight up with these guys, like, I got whatever I wanted. Like, these guys really wanted to, like, woo me over. But at the end, you know, I didn't like them. But yeah, that is my conclusion to this. Be straightforward. Be yourself. Because a lot of these men out there have the audacity to be asking you to, you know, do it with them on the first date, to be asking you promiscuous stuff on the first date. And you're just there like, oh, I don't want to offend him. Oh, I don't want to do this. No, girl. He has all this audacity. You gotta be more audacious than him. You gotta go one step up and be like, oh, let me ask you for this then. Let me tell you this. Let me say this. Like, you cannot just sit there being a nice little calm, demure girl. No, that doesn't work. Maybe that worked in the past when we had all these other things, but we no longer live in the past. We live in the now, where women have to work, where women have to make their own way through life. I don't want to be working. When I meet my man, I want a provider, okay? I want a man where even if I make money, he's like, don't worry, girl, I got you. Like, I don't want to be paying, and I'm straight up with that. Like, I have never paid for a single date. I have never even done the, oh, let me pay the check. Hell no, I just sit there and I'm like, you got this, right? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go wash my hair. Like, bitch, I ain't paying for shit. And these men, they never ask me to pay because they know that I am like that straight up. I asked them, at what time are you gonna come for me? I don't really ask them what time. I don't know why I said that. I normally ask them, okay, when are we going on a date? Like, where are we going? And they're like, don't worry. We're gonna go here at this time. Be ready. And that's it. That is what a man should do. And that is what you should be expecting. Don't be out there asking for more, because we don't do that. We don't do that. So yeah, my conclusion is be yourself on dates. Be straight up with what you want. And I know this is coming from someone that doesn't have a partner, but that is what I have learned when dating. Because even though I don't have a partner, I have had a lot of fun on dates, and I have gotten so much from it. And I have collected all this information. Maybe this doesn't work for anyone, but that's what I've noticed. Take my advice, don't take it, but honestly, if you have a relationship now and you're happy, good for you, girl. Good for you, because I can't relate. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.